Hey, good morning, guys.
How bad is it down there? Sounds, if you listen to the mayor, it sounds like everything's back to normal.
Yeah, I mean, he's been very insistent that the city's open for business and saying that sort of everything is back to normal, particularly from a large infrastructure standpoint. However, there are still 30,000 people in shelters across Texas right now. There are still neighborhoods here in Houston that are flooded, and that water is not going away for more than a week, they've been told, because of controlled releases from local reservoirs that are still happening. And so there are people that are frustrated with this kind of disconnect. There are neighborhoods that are dry and that are rebuilding, and there's others that simply don't know where to start.
Yeah, the haves and the have-nots. I was watching the Houston Astros baseball game over the weekend, and I couldn't believe that somebody had time to go to a baseball game.
Yeah, I was going to say, getting back to normalcy is good, and fundraisers are good, and there's certainly been a lot of fundraising at some of these professional sporting events, but it is, again, just this sort of bizarre site. In downtown Houston, it's largely drained out, and it's largely been cleaned up. And then you've got these neighborhoods where there are piles of trash sitting on lawns, mattresses, drywall, floorboards that have been ripped out, and there still haven't been enough garbage trucks to go pick them up yet.
Yeah, Brad, is there any way to discern nicer neighborhoods versus working class neighborhoods? Because in Katrina, it seemed like the working class neighborhoods were hit harder than the upper scale neighborhoods. Any breakdown in Houston?
Yeah, I was about to say, most natural disasters don't necessarily discriminate. A tornado is just going to hit whatever's in its path, but because floods are just by nature a product of city planning and zoning and things like that, they often do discriminate between the poor and the rich. Well, it's actually rather interesting here, though, that you've got a lot of million-dollar homes and these posh communities that are right next to Buffalo Bayou. That is one of the things that's been flooding. So I was having people in million-dollar homes come up to me yesterday saying they were trying to get their suits and their ties out in suitcases on kayaks. So, I mean, you do see poor neighborhoods hit very hard, and they feel like I think they're getting less attention. But you certainly have wealthier neighborhoods that are just as sort of, I think, irritated that the floodwaters continue to rise there as well.
Who are the people in the shelters then, and how do they plan to get all of them out of the shelters back into homes?
Well, and that's a great question when you talk about disparity, too, because I went to a shelter in downtown Houston yesterday, and you've got a lot of people who were homeless already, who now lost what little they had. I talked to a guy who is, he's renting a place. It's now gone. The landlord has said this place won't be ready for you for months, and now he's wondering what to do. He said he got in touch with FEMA. FEMA said, great, we need a number to call you back. And he said, my phone was, taken out in the flood. I don't have a phone number for you to call me back. And now he's sort of stuck in this waiting period. And so you've got these 30,000 people spread, by the way, from here all the way to places like Dallas, trying to get back on their feet and unsure exactly what that next step will be.
Brad Melke, ABC News correspondent, live in Houston. Brad, have a good week. Thanks.
Thank you.
625, Big 550.